Hi, Kelly DeCiro here from Find Your Balance, Find Yourself, and I am so excited today to talk a little bit more about the program. The program is specifically helping corporate women to overcome feelings of stress and overwhelm and reconnect back with themselves and their passions so they can live happy lives. And I'm super excited today to have Sara here with us, and I will let Sara introduce herself, but she is one of my absolute favorite people. I am so blessed to have met her and to have worked with her in this program. So, Sara, take it away.
Hi guys, I'm Sarah. Um, so when I first met Kelly, I would have started off by telling you, I'm a 27-year-old accountant and I live in Vermont. But now, it's a lot more than that. And, I'd like to tell you all that I'm just a go-getter and I'm a happy person. And I'm really, really grateful that I found Kelly's program. And, it's both ways that I'm so blessed to have met Kelly.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. So, tell us a little bit more about what was going on in your life that made you seek out, a program like this and coaching and looking for help.
So when I first met up with Kelly, I had read one of her statements online. I was like, "Are you feeling stressed and overwhelmed and looking to move to like a tropical island?" And I was like, "Yes, that is me. I'm ready to pack my bags and move." I was really unhappy with my job. I felt totally trapped by it. I was looking for ways out, constantly looking for new jobs online, um, trying to figure out like what would make me happy because it just felt like nothing was making me happy. And so it was a feeling that I had been trying to deal with for like several months to years of just feeling kind of stuck and not happy.
And how was that affecting not just your job, but how is that affecting your life outside of work and, your family?
I think my family was sick of me complaining. That was one thing. They had probably heard enough of me talking about my job because it felt like it ate up a lot of my mental energy, just constantly thinking about it. Um, so outside of work, I was still stressing about work.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a really common problem for a lot of people is that the stress of work ends up taking over every aspect of life. And how did you feel, at that time, thinking back on that time of your life? How did you feel, just waking up in the morning and like walk us through the emotions that you were going through on a daily basis?
Yeah, so I think the best way to describe it is I just would wake up feeling like there was no point to my day. I'd go through the motions, but it just seemed like I was just going through the motions. Like there was no reason that I was really doing anything other than I was kind of just continuing with inertia.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I've definitely felt that before too. So, what were you trying at that time to solve your problems?
So I was trying, I had a bunch of self-help books. I had tried therapy, a couple of different therapists. I had tried, staying like healthy and exercising, eating a pretty good diet, like doing the things that my doctor told me. I had also been taking antidepressants for a while and still was feeling like there wasn't really a point to my day.
That is a lot of different things, a lot of different methods. Would you say you were trying all those things, over a number of years?
Yeah, I would say definitely like maybe 2.5 to 3 years was kind of the extent of this period of feeling like, I didn't really like my job. I didn't really feel like there is a point to it. And just knowing that like inside I knew that there was a version of myself that wanted to be happy, and the version that I was living wasn't the one I wanted to be. So there was this inkling that I knew I wanted to change. I just didn't know how to get there.
Yeah, and we'll talk about how you did change in a second, but what made you choose to work with me? You've done a lot of other things. You've tried self-help books, therapy, all these other things. So what made you decide to work with me and join this program?
So I had tried all those other programs and I kind of just stopped them because it felt like nothing was working. I'd met up with a couple of therapists, and like after the first few sessions, it didn't really feel like it was making a difference because the way they set it up is you just show up once a week and that's your time to work on you. And that doesn't feel like it's very sustainable, like 1 hour a week. Um, and so I just kind of gave up. And when I first saw your program and heard you talk about what to expect and that I would see changes and that you could definitely see this happening for me, I took a leap of faith and I said, if Kelly says that this is going to work for me, then I believe her because you know I had faith in the program that it was going to be something different and it was going to be something that I could handle, and I was open to it and ready to it, or ready for it, um, and so I decided to jump.
And I'm so glad you did. But let's talk about that for a second. So you even said like took a leap of faith. So what was the decision like? How were you feeling in making this decision? Were fears coming up? What was top of mind?
Oh yeah, there is a ton of fears, and I think for me, one of the fears was I had never done anything like this before. The second fear was that I had to get my husband on board, because neither of us had ever invested in ourselves in this way. And so I think a lot of the initial hesitation was, wow, I'm like making a conscious choice to invest in myself, and that's a pretty big deal. And it was new territory for me.
Yeah, new territory is always scary, but I love the way that you framed it as a conscious decision to invest in yourself. And I love that you even brought up your husband too, because I know I speak to a lot of women who always want to run everything by their husband. And I totally understand that. My husband and I have, agreements as well. But one thing I always like to tell people in making this decision is definitely talk with your spouse, especially if you have a supportive spouse and it's, someone that you want to confide in. But always remember that you don't want to give away your power to someone else. So if it's something that you really want to do and you feel like it's an investment in you and you let him say no, then you let him be the bad guy. And so you don't want to put that on your husband either and slowly make him the bad guy and resent him. So I always like to help people frame it in that way. Like, of course, we want our husband's support, and of course, we make decisions together. But, I love that you were able to recognize that it was an investment in you and a decision you were making for you, and your husband was on board to help you become the better version of yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it was important for me to um, pitch it to somebody because it reaffirmed my desire to want to make a change.
Exactly. So, what were some of the first changes you noticed when we started working together?
I think one of the first changes was that I felt more energized. Um, Almost right away, I think I remember talking to you on a call saying, like, I stay up late now. Whereas before, I used to just go to bed because it didn't feel like there was anything worth doing. But then I started feeling more energy and like wanting to stay up and like had an interest in doing things when I would get home at night.
I remember that call and I remember you saying that. And I also remember on our very first live call together, you had mentioned that you were already using some of the approaches on dealing with negative emotions at work. Like that day, you were like, I already used it in action. And so I was so proud of you for just jumping right into and really, really just adopting these principles and running with it.
Oh, definitely. I think everything was really easily absorbable right from the start.
Glad to hear it. And I also remember, I feel like it was like week 3, there was just a visible shift in you. You know, like visibly, it looked like you just felt lighter, like you weren't as like heavy and bogged down. Would you say that?
I would say that for sure.
And what was it like just in general, working with me and going through the program and working with the other ladies in the group?
It was amazing. I would recommend it to everybody. Um, if you're thinking about this, just do it. Everybody in the program is really supportive. Kelly is super supportive, and knows how to ask the right questions to keep you moving forward. I would say I got really lucky because I love my group, and I think it was just something super special. And everyone in the group was just a great way to bounce ideas off of and feel like they brought a new perspective, which was really helpful.
Yeah, I love the aspect of the group coaching for that reason because everybody brings something to the table and everybody has a chance to put in their opinion, but also, listen and grow from each other. And what I really loved was seeing the progress that you made in, someone else is joining and it's their week 2 and they're having an issue or they're discussing some uncomfortable feelings and you jump in because you're a veteran at this point. It's week 10 for you and you're jumping in and providing amazing advice. And I love seeing everybody just grow through the process. It's not about me providing advice as much as it's about me helping you really empower yourself and start to ask yourself your own questions as well. So how would you say that your life is different today from when we started working together?
So to me, it feels completely different. I think, I'm happier, I'm lighter, like I actually enjoy my job. And to a third party, it would look like nothing has changed. If you didn't know me, I still go to the same job, I still shop at the same stores, like nothing on the outside has changed, but everything on the inside has. I just feel like a brighter version of myself, like a lighter, happier version of myself. And I even was talking to my boss the other day, and she said to me, she's like, I've noticed a change in you.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I definitely think that it's been a paradigm shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen it too. And I've seen it like every single week. Of course, sometimes there are bad weeks and sometimes there's good weeks, but overall, the trend was always up and it's still gonna go up. So do you feel, at the end of the program that you are supported in a way and you have the knowledge and the tools that you can now go out on your own and still be successful and have that support in your life?
I do. Yeah. I feel like the program really gave me the foundation and the building blocks where I can sustain this feeling of happiness and energy and um, like wanting to go out into the world and live my life. Um, so definitely.
Awesome. And what would you say to someone who's considering joining the program, but they're on the fence and they're, just not sure and a lot of fears are creeping in? What would you say to them?
I would say don't let your fears take over. This program, when I look back 10 weeks ago, I can't believe how far I've come. And I am so glad that I decided to do it. If there's any possibility that you think that this will challenge you and help you grow, then do it, because you will not be disappointed.
That's music to my ears. I love it. And the reason I love it so much is because it fills my heart to know that you have changed, you're happy, and then that has now impacted your family as well. So your husband is happier that you're happy. You see the happier side of things at work. You have a positive outlook, and I think there's so much more to come for you.
Well, thanks. I hope so.
Well, thank you for providing your 2 cents on the program. And I'm so deeply grateful and so blessed to have worked with you. And I can't wait to continue our connection in the future.